There's an unsettling beauty to deserted places, a quiet stillness that seems to whisper secrets on the wind. Tonight we delve into the eerie and unsettling world of deserted greenhouses, places where life once flourished, now overtaken by shadows and decay. Places where whispers of the past linger amongst the overgrown vines and rusted tools. Places where three ghostly figures, each more unsettling than the last, are said to wander. Join me if you dare as we explore the chilling tales of three ghostly figures seen in deserted greenhouses, horror stories. We'll uncover the stories behind these apparitions, the tragedies that bind them to these forgotten havens, and the bone-chilling encounters of those who dared to venture too close. Turn down the lights, turn up the volume, and prepare yourself, because tonight we're stepping into the shadows where fear takes root and nightmares blossom. Our first tale takes us deep into the heart of rural England, to a sprawling estate now shrouded in whispers and shadows. The once grand manor house stands empty, its windows like vacant eyes staring out over the grounds reclaimed by nature. But it's the dilapidated greenhouse behind the manor that holds our attention tonight. This glass and iron skeleton, once a sanctuary for vibrant orchids and delicate ferns, is now the domain of the gardener's ghost.
They say the gardener, a man named Silas, devoted his life to cultivating rare and exotic plants within these walls. He was a solitary man, more comfortable in the company of his silent, verdant companions than among his fellow humans. Silas, they say, poured his heart and soul into this greenhouse, his love for his plants bordering on obsession.
Then one stormy night, tragedy struck. A fire, sparked by a stray bolt of lightning, ripped through the greenhouse. Silas, desperate to save his beloved plants, rushed into the inferno, never to be seen alive again. Now, locals whisper of a spectral figure seen gliding through the overgrown paths of the dilapidated greenhouse, his hands still moving as if tending to long-gone blooms. Some claim to smell the faint scent of lilac and lavender, Silas's favorite scents, carried on the breeze near the crumbling structure.
One chilling account comes from a group of teenagers who dared each other to spend the night in the abandoned manor house. As the story goes, they were huddled in the darkness, fear clinging to them like cobwebs, when they heard it, the distinct, rhythmic snip, snip, snip of gardening shears coming from outside. Curiosity, or perhaps morbid fascination, overcame their fear, and they crept to the window overlooking the greenhouse. In the pale moonlight filtering through the grimy glass, they saw him, a tall, gaunt figure moving among the shadows, a pair of shears glinting in his skeletal hand. The teenagers fled, their screams lost on the wind as they raced back to the safety of town. They never returned to the manor, forever haunted by the image of the gardener's ghost tending his spectral garden.
But the teenagers weren't the only ones to witness Silas's spectral vigil. Years later, a young photographer drawn to the melancholy beauty of the abandoned estate decided to use the greenhouse as the subject of a photo series. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the estate, the photographer felt a cold presence beside her. Turning slowly, she saw him, the gardener's ghost, his translucent form shimmering in the fading light. Frozen in fear, the photographer could only watch as the ghostly gardener turned and faded into the shadows, his spectral form dissolving into the encroaching darkness. Shaken to her core, the photographer gathered her equipment and fled. Our next journey into the unsettling world of deserted greenhouses takes us to the sun-drenched countryside of Tuscany, Italy. Here, nestled among rolling hills and vineyards heavy with grapes, lies a crumbling stone villa, its once bright facade now bleached by the relentless sun. Hidden within the villa's overgrown grounds, behind a veil of ivy and forgotten roses, stands a dilapidated greenhouse. Locals avoid this place, their whispers painting a chilling picture of the restless spirit that resides within the phantom child.
Legend has it that the villa was once home to a wealthy family, their laughter and joy echoing through the halls. Their youngest daughter, a little girl with eyes as blue as the summer sky and hair like spun gold, was the apple of her father's eye. He adored his little princess, showering her with affection and lavishing her with gifts.
But fate, as it so often does, had other plans. One scorching summer day, The little girl, lost in her world of make-believe within the greenhouse, wandered away from the watchful eyes of the gardener. She tripped on a loose cobblestone path, falling headfirst into a shallow pond. When they finally found her, it was too late. The doll, Bella, lay discarded nearby, its painted eyes staring vacantly at the sky.
But the little girl, they say, never truly left. Locals whisper of a small, shadowy figure darting among the overgrown vines and shattered glass of the greenhouse. Some claim to hear the faint tinkling of laughter, like wind chimes dancing on a gentle breeze, followed by the gut-wrenching sobs of a child mourning a lost companion. Peering through a crack in the grimy glass, they saw her, a small figure dressed in white, her back to them, her blonde hair cascading down her back like a waterfall of sunlight. She was clutching something in her hand, something that looked suspiciously like a porcelain doll.
Our final destination tonight takes us to the wind-swept coast of Maine, where the relentless crashing of waves against jagged cliffs provides a constant, haunting soundtrack. Perched precariously on a cliff overlooking the churning Atlantic Ocean sits a dilapidated Victorian mansion, its once bright paint faded to a dreary grey, its windows like empty eyes staring out at the unforgiving sea. Behind the mansion, shrouded in a perpetual mist that seems to cling to it like a shroud, lies our final destination, a crumbling greenhouse, its glass panes clouded with salt spray and age, its interior home to a darkness so profound it seems to swallow the light. This, my friends, is the domain of the shadowy figure.
Unlike our previous tales, where the ghosts were bound to their respective greenhouses by tragedy and a lingering attachment to the physical world, the origins of the shadowy figure remain a chilling mystery. No one knows who or what this entity might be, only that its presence is enough to send a shiver down the spine of even the most hardened skeptic.
Fishermen, their boats bobbing in the churning waters below the cliffs, speak of seeing a dark shape moving within the greenhouse's misty confines, a shape that seems to shift and writhe like smoke caught in a breeze. Locals, their whispers carried on the salty air, tell of an oppressive feeling that descends upon anyone foolish enough to venture near the greenhouse, a feeling of being watched by something ancient and malevolent.
One particularly unsettling account comes from a young couple, eager to escape the city for a weekend, who rented the clifftop mansion. They were drawn to its isolation, its air of faded grandeur, unaware of the darkness that lurked just beyond the manicured lawns and crumbling stone walls. On their first night, as they sat by the fireplace, a roaring fire doing little to chase away the chill that seemed to permeate the very walls of the house, they noticed it, a shadow darker than the surrounding darkness, moving at the edge of their vision. At first, they dismissed it as a trick of the firelight, but as the night wore on, the shadow grew bolder, moving closer until it seemed to be pressed up against the very windows, its form shifting and undulating like a living thing. Terrified, the couple retreated to their bedroom, bolting the door and huddling under the covers, hoping to find solace in each other's arms. But the shadow followed, its presence seeping under the door, slithering across the floor, wrapping itself around their bed like an icy shroud. Unable to bear it any longer, the young man, his heart pounding in his chest, got out of bed and cautiously approached the window. Pulling back the heavy curtains, he peered out into the darkness, his eyes straining to pierce the swirling mist that enveloped the greenhouse. And then he saw it, the shadowy figure, its form indistinct, a void in the shape of a man standing just outside the greenhouse, its empty eyes seemingly staring directly at him. The young man recoiled from the window as if he'd been struck, a scream dying in his throat. These are just a few of the ghostly figures said to haunt deserted greenhouses, places where life and death intertwine, where beauty and decay coexist. The gardener's ghost, forever tending his spectral garden. The phantom child, eternally searching for her lost companion. And the shadowy figure, a chilling embodiment of the darkness that lurks at the edge of our reality. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, these tales are sure to send a shiver down your spine, a reminder that some places hold on to the echoes of the past with an unsettling tenacity. Have you ever had a spine-chilling encounter in a forgotten place? Share your own ghost stories in the comments below, and let's keep the chills going. And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed tonight's journey into the shadows, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more terrifying tales, and click the notification bell so you never miss a descent into darkness. Sleep tight, and remember, sometimes the most unsettling stories are the ones whispered on the wind.